What are mans? It's Taco Mans. Today I'm going to show you how I built my DIY ultra budget friendly truck bed slide for only $25. Let's talk about it. I started with a scrap piece of OSB half-inch thick 4x8 sheet of plywood that I had laying around in my garage. The design is really simple. I cut the length to be 72 inches, which will run the entire length of the truck bed. I cut the width to be 42 inches, which will fit right between the wheel wells. Now that I had the overall dimensions, I wanted to add a border that could be used as a pull handle. I found some scrap pieces of 2x2 in the garage. The actual dimensions are 1.5 by 1.5 inches. I cut them down to fit along the edges of the plywood. Once everything was cut to size, I used wood glue and screws to fasten everything together. Now I didn't want to slide the bare wood against the truck bed, so to prevent damaging the bed, I had an old IKEA rug that was just the right size. It covered the entire bottom of the slide, then I wrapped it around the edges and stapled it in place. To cover up the plywood and my not so professional upholstering, I found more scraps in the garage. This is a thin hardboard that I cut down to fit perfectly within the bed slide. I sanded each piece because I plan to paint it to remove the wood grain pattern. The material was really glossy, so I wanted to rough it up to allow paint to adhere better. I had a couple old cans of black spray paint, so at this point the expenses for my bed slide was still at $0. The paint job turned out just okay. I could have sanded it better and applied more paint, but I wanted to keep the costs down and I was going to cover most of it up anyways. To finish off the bed slide, I picked up a rubber mat from Costco for $25. This was the only thing I purchased for this build. The dimensions of the mat were just slightly smaller than the bed slide, so it covered up most of the painted boards, but they were still visible like a border around the mat. I really like how this bed slide turned out. I've used it for a few months now and I have some pros and cons. Let's start with the pros. Number one, it's cheap. If you do any DIY work, you could possibly already have everything you need to make this. If I was to price out everything I used, it would have roughly cost $100 to $150. You could even make it without the mat or make your own variation of it. Number two, it's robust. The half-inch plywood combined with the border made the slide really sturdy. Number three, it doesn't shake or rattle. The exact fit with the added weight of the carpet, rubber mat, and hardboard contributes to keeping the slide in place when driving. I don't hear any rattling or shaking on bumpy roads. Number four, it's minimal and flat. I love the simplistic design. The flatness of the slide allows for more usable space within the truck bed. Some bed slides use rollers, which take away from the usable height. Number five, it keeps everything in place. The rubber mat has been working excellent. I usually keep a bin of emergency gear in the back, which never moves around. Anything I put in here stays put. Now let's get to the cons. Number one is no rollers. When the slide is loaded up with a lot of gear, it can get a bit heavy. I'll usually remove a couple items first to lighten the load before pulling the slide out, or if I'm with someone, we can pull it out together. Number two, there's no stopper. If you're not careful, you can pull the slide out too far and it can tip over. I've seen others add a rope to the back to stop this from happening, but it hasn't been a problem for me. Other than that, the slide has been beyond helpful. Hauling gear in my Taco has been so much easier since installing this. No more crawling around in the bed or having to jump up on top. Thanks for watching. I hope you like this build and encourage any truck owners to make their own bed slide. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe, and vibe. Catch you on the next Taco Man's out. Peace.
But